We made it to the lighthouse many times this weekend. We helped a bunch of people go flawless. As you can see, my Titan is not impressed right now, as every time I go to the lighthouse I am met with nothing but an anticlimax and disappointment. And you know what, that's not taking away anything from the people that I helped go flawless. A lot of them, it's their first time going to the lighthouse, and even if they're not getting great loot, they're super stoked to get there, and it is always fun to help people reach that goal. But at the end of the day, it's just not it. Adept weapons and the way they've been implemented is just not it, I'm afraid. Now, just like Trials in general, since it returned, it's just another step backwards, and I hate to be negative, but it's just the truth. Adept weapons in Destiny 1 were far more desirable and far more of a reason to play Trials than Adept weapons in Destiny 2. Much like the loot in general in Destiny 2 Trials not being as good, just like the player population, even though there's an extra platform in PC, is much lower than it was in Destiny 1. And there's so many contributing factors to this, but of course the loot is by far the most important thing when it comes to how successful Trials will be. So why do I think the Adept weapons are poor? Well, first of all, I can give you my own experiences, okay? I've been flawless since Trials came back. I don't know, probably close to 20 times across both weekends, and you're not guaranteed an Adept weapon out of the chest every time, but it does happen where you'll get an Adept. And I did a video on the Adept auto rifle, and I showed you the Adept targeting mod and how it was just a really poor fit for the summoner because it took away a lot of stability, and a little bit more aim assist is not worth losing that much stability on an auto rifle where you need to be hitting all of your crits to get that optimal time to kill, right? So that was the first miss. Now we come to this week on Javelin, and the Adept reward is the Astral Horizon. And I want to tell you guys something, and this is obviously bad RNG on my part, and obviously I'm just unlucky, but I have not had a quick draw opening shot Astral Horizon ever. Like, not a single time have I had that roll drop for me. Now, I've earned thousands upon thousands of tokens. I've played probably hundreds and hundreds of Trials matches. I've been flawless, I don't know, well over 100 times. I don't know exactly how many times I've been flawless. I've opened that chest several times, okay? And I've never had a quick draw opening shot Astral Horizon. And if you don't get a quick draw opening shot Astral Horizon, you really have no reason to use it. The best draw I have got on an Astral is Quick Draw Celerity. Now that is a perk combination that makes next to no sense whatsoever, because Celerity is a perk that gives you Quick Draw, Third Eye, and a bunch of, nice buffs when you're in a 1v3 situation. Now Celerity leads me on to Adept weapons really nicely. Obviously, Celerity on Adept weapons should be an intrinsic perk. Therefore, you have a real reason to go for an Adept version of the weapon. If Celerity was an intrinsic perk, right off the rip, that makes it a desirable, grindable thing. People want to go for an Adept weapon. You know it's going to have Celerity, plus 2 other good perks, and it's going to be a really good weapon. Now, this is the other issue. So, I've been flawless how many times? So many times, right? I mentioned that. Now, what do I get when I open the chest? I get an Astral Horizon with Field Prep and Threat Detector. Right? That's trash. That's trash loot, correct? Now, they've added Adept weapons, yeah? Now, I go flawless. It's really hard to go flawless for most players, bear in mind. I go flawless. I finally get to the lighthouse. I've been trying so hard. I get my Adept Astral Horizon, and it has Field Prep and Threat Detector. Whoop-de-fucking-do. This is my issue. If you're going to make Adept weapons, make them good. So take each of the Adept weapons and give them a curated perk pool, or even just a curated roll. Yeah, I get they want to keep random rolls in so people can keep coming back to, try and attain one of these weapons. Okay, in that case, that's fine, right? But here's what you do. You give Adept weapons Celerity intrinsically, and you give them an extra slot to slot in the Adept mod. Bear in mind, the 2 Adept mods that we've had so far have been extremely underwhelming. The Adept Mag mod, if I put that on my Astral Horizon, it gives me +1 in the magazine, and I lose a massive chunk of handling. And as you guys know, handling is very important on shotguns. Now, it's just so half-baked and such an afterthought. And I hate to say it, but minimal effort, uncreative, just... it's just disappointing, man. How can How can they just continue to serve up such disappointing loot in an endgame activity? Well, I do feel like the fact that Trials is free to play has a huge factor in why such a little effort is put into the loot. But my point is, make the Adept weapons have celerity intrinsically and give them a curated perk pool. So for example, if you go flawless on the weekend where the Astral Horizon is the Adept weapon, you know if you get flawless, you're going to come back with an Adept Astral Horizon with extra stats and all of that stuff. It'd have a range masterwork, it'd come with quick draw, it would come with opening shot, and it would come with celerity. That right there is an amazing weapon, and it is something that would cause people to actually bother with Trials and get involved. Now I had a look at the Trials participation numbers for this weekend and last weekend. Dude, the participation numbers last weekend for the first week of Trials on Bannerfall was lower than the week that Trials was on Bannerfall back in August. And bear in mind, in August there was absolutely nothing to do in the game. There was very little reason for anyone to even be playing at that time, and yet more people played then than they did last week. Only what, a month into a September DLC, more people played back in August than they did last week. And that speaks volumes to the failure of Adept weapons. It really does. Now, I know Joe Blackburn actually did an article about a week or two ago addressing the poor loot, and it was really good. He talked about bringing back Palindrome and one or two other guns and adding in more loot. But do you know what wasn't mentioned at any point in that article? Crucible or Crucible rewards. There was very little mentioned. Maybe they're happy with the Adept weapons, but if anyone at Bungie is watching this, I hope you guys are having a great holiday. But the Adept weapons aren't it, guys. They are a massive fail, in my opinion. An absolutely massive fail. And I don't know how complex it is to make the changes I'm suggesting, but if it's possible, man, really, like, it's so simple. Curated perk pool, give you maybe one or two top perk combinations for top rolls. So for example, on the Astral Horizon you can get quick draw opening shot, or maybe you could get slide shot swashbuckler, you know, just some nice rolls. Maybe give them multiple perk options, like how Felwinter has a choice between XYZ perk, like you've got slide shot, quick draw, warple, opening shot. Maybe Adept weapons could have something like that. You know, there are so many more things you could do than simply tack on some half-baked mods that don't even have their own slot, and then put Adept and an ugly ass shader on the guns, and then keep the perk pool the same, keep everything the same, and you know, the result is you have a fall DLC, a winter DLC, and the first time Trials comes back, there are less people playing Trials now than there were playing Trials in August. If that's not a fail and a bit of a shit show, I don't know what is. That being said, Trials, obviously, I still enjoy helping people go flawless, playing on PS5. It's refreshing to to at least not have to play cheaters. And I think the other benefit of me going to PS5 is now I'm looking at Trials without the, added toxicity of cheating and how awful that, makes the experience, which by the way is probably never going to change on PC, guys. I'm just letting you know that. That's why I'm on PS5. But like I said, you put cheaters to one side and you look at what you've got in terms of the product and what Trials is, and you can only say it's a far inferior and worse version than what Trials was when it first came out back in 2015. It's just so disappointing. I see a lot of people say things like Trials needs a complete rework, Elimination's gotta go. I disagree. I think Elimination is fine. I think the basis for it is great, but the crucial element, which is loot, is just consistently poor. The token system does not complement Trials of Osiris at all. Forcing the token system on something that doesn't really complement it is just not a very good thing. Token system's gotta go, man. All of these things need a little bit of an update. We need some better loot, man. We really do. We need some new maps. We really need some new maps, man, in PvP. Even if you can't bring back new ones, bring back the remaining good Destiny 1 maps. We need something in PvP, guys. It's not looking so good. Nothing to earn in comp, nothing to earn from regular Crucible. It's just an absolute barren wasteland. That being said, I'm still enjoying putting out content. Nothing's going to change in that regard, but I did have to get this video out because frankly it's just not good enough. Anyway guys, that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.